My husband bought his mother a $60,000 diamond necklace and gave me free lotion from a hotel, but what he didn't know was something that would change everything. I'm Jennifer. I'm 55 years old. 3 months ago, on my birthday, something happened that I'll never forget. My husband handed his 80-year-old mother a Tiffany box. Inside was a diamond necklace worth more than most people make in a year, $60,000. Then he turned to me, smiled, and handed me a small bottle of complimentary lotion he'd taken from a hotel bathroom. Free, worth nothing. Everyone laughed. They thought it was funny. Classic Michael, they said. But I didn't laugh. I couldn't, because in that moment, 30 years of marriage crystallized into one undeniable truth. And what I did next surprised everyone, including him. Before I tell you how I got here, before I tell you what happened after that moment, I need to know you're listening. Drop your city or country in the comments, and please subscribe. We share real stories about real women every day. When I met Michael in 1990, I was 20 years old, working, independent, building a life. He was 23, ambitious, charming. I thought I'd found a partner. I gave him 30 years, raised his children, stopped working to support his career, became financially dependent because he said that's what families do, and he gave me hotel lotion on my 55th birthday, while his mother got diamonds. What he didn't know was that I'd been preparing, that I wasn't the same woman who'd said yes to him 30 years ago, that some humiliations are so complete, they become clarity. Stay with me, because what happened after that birthday, after that necklace, and that lotion, nobody expected it. Least of all him. I met Michael in the spring of 1990 in Chicago. I was 20 years old, working as a teller at First National Bank in the Loop. He was 23, working in commercial real estate, wearing suits that looked expensive, even though he was just starting out. He came into the bank every Friday to deposit checks, always friendly, always made small talk, asked about my weekend plans, remembered details from previous conversations. "You're different from the other tellers," he said one afternoon. "You actually seem to care." "I'm just doing my job." "No, it's more than that. You're genuine." That's rare in this city. After 3 months of Friday conversations, he finally asked me out. "There's this new Italian place in River North. Would you want to have dinner with me tomorrow night?" I said yes. Our first date was at a restaurant I'd never been able to afford on my own. Michael ordered wine without looking at the prices. Talked about his goals, his plans to open his own real estate development company someday, how he wanted to build something significant. "What about you?" he asked. "What are your goals?" "I'm taking classes at business administration. I want to move up in the bank, maybe become a loan officer eventually." "That's great. Ambitious. I like that." He seemed impressed, interested, like my dreams mattered as much as his. We dated for a year. He'd pick me up from the bank on Fridays. We'd go to dinner, catch a movie at the water tower, walk along the lakefront. He met my family at Thanksgiving 1990. My parents liked him well enough, though my sister Sarah was more reserved. "He talks about himself a lot," Sarah observed. She was 15 then, perceptive beyond her years. "He's ambitious, passionate about his work. Just make sure he's as passionate about you." I brushed off her concern. What did a 15-year-old know about relationships? Michael's mother Linda lived in Naperville, about 40 minutes west of the city. I met her for the first time in December 1990. She invited us to her house for Sunday dinner. Linda was 65 years old, widowed for 5 years. Her house was immaculate, every surface polished, every decoration perfectly placed. She served pot roast with all the sides, everything homemade. "Michael tells me you work at a bank," she said. "Yes, ma'am. First National. I've been there 2 years. "That's nice." My husband always said banking was steady work, not glamorous, but steady. "I'm taking classes too, working toward a business degree." "Good for you." Though I always think education is wasted if you're just going to get married and have children anyway. I quit my job the day I got engaged. That's what women did back then. Michael squeezed my hand under the table. Later, in the car, he said, "Don't mind Mom. She's just old-fashioned. She doesn't understand how things work now." But that comment stayed with me. Education is wasted if you're just going to get married anyway. In 1992, Michael started his own company, Thompson Development Group. It was small at first, just him and a partner, working out of a tiny office in He worked constantly, weekends, late nights, building his business. I supported him, brought him dinner when he worked late. listened to his frustrations, celebrated his wins. That's what partners do, I thought. He proposed on New Year's Eve 1994. We were at a party in Lincoln Park, champagne flowing, clock counting down to midnight. As the ball dropped on the TV, he got down on one knee. Jennifer, you've been with me through everything. Building my business, supporting my dreams. I want to build a life with you. Will you marry me? Everyone at the party cheered. The ring was beautiful, not huge, but nice, tasteful. I said yes. How could I say no? We'd been together for years. He was successful now, ready to settle down. This was what I wanted, right? We got married in June 1995 at a church in Oak Park. My parents paid for most of the wedding, middle class, traditional, about 150 guests. Linda wore a cream-colored suit that looked almost like a wedding dress. Several people thought she was the bride's mother until they realized she just loves being the center of attention. My mom whispered, "Try not to let it bother you." But it did bother me. It was my wedding day, and somehow Linda managed to make it partially about her. The reception was at a banquet hall in Elmhurst. Chicken or fish dinner, a DJ, dancing. Michael gave a toast, thanking everyone, especially his mother, for raising me to be the man I am today, for supporting my dreams, for always being there. He didn't mention me in the toast. Not once. On our wedding day, my sister Sarah noticed. She was 20 then, home from college for the summer. Did he seriously just thank everyone except you? At your own wedding? He was nervous, probably just forgot. Jennifer, you can't make excuses for him already. You've been married for 6 hours. We moved into a condo in Arlington Heights, 2 bedrooms, nice neighborhood, good schools for when we had kids. Michael's business was doing well. We were comfortable, not rich, but comfortable. I kept working at the bank, got promoted to loan officer in 1995. It felt good, having my own career, my own income, my own identity beyond being Michael's wife. You're still working? Linda asked when she came to visit. Michael makes enough money now. You could quit. Focus on making a nice home for him. I like working. I worked hard for this promotion. Well, every marriage is different, I suppose. The way she said it made it clear. She thought our marriage was different in the wrong way. Michael started mentioning it too. Mom has a point. You're tired all the time, working and managing the house. Maybe you should think about staying home. We can afford it now. I don't want to stay home. I like my job. For now. But when we have kids, you'll want to be home with them anyway, right? I didn't answer, because I didn't know. I'd always assumed I'd keep working, that we'd figure out childcare like everyone else. But Michael and Linda were planting seeds, subtle pressure, gentle suggestions that became less gentle over time. By the end of 1995, I'd been married 6 months. Michael's business was growing. Linda visited every Sunday, and I was starting to realize that when I'd said yes to Michael, I'd also said yes to a family dynamic I didn't fully understand, a dynamic where Linda's opinion mattered more than mine, where Michael's mother would always come first, where my own goals and dreams would slowly become secondary to what Michael and Linda thought was best. But I didn't see it clearly then. Didn't understand what I was walking into. I just knew I was married. This was my life now. And I'd make it work, because that's what good wives do, right? I got pregnant in the fall of 1996. We'd been married a year and a half. It wasn't exactly planned, but it wasn't prevented either. Michael wanted kids. Linda wanted grandchildren. And I was 20. It seemed like the right time. You'll quit your job now, right? Linda said when we told her the news. We were at her house in Naperville for Sunday dinner. Pot roast again. Always pot roast. I haven't decided yet. Plenty of women work while pregnant. But after the baby comes, you'll stay home. Babies need their mothers, not some daycare worker. I looked at Michael, waiting for him to back me up, to say that it was our decision, our family, but he just nodded along with his mother. Mom's right, daycare is expensive anyway. Doesn't make financial sense when I'm making good money now. That's how the conversation went. Not would I like to stay home. Not what do I want, just practical financial calculations that erased my career like it had never mattered. I worked until I was 7 months pregnant. My manager at First National was understanding, said I could come back part-time after maternity leave if I wanted. But Michael and Linda had other plans. Emily was born in May 1997, 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Perfect, beautiful. The moment they placed her in my arms, I understood what people meant when they said, your heart exists outside your body. Michael was good those first few weeks, took time off work, helped with night feedings, seemed genuinely excited to be a father. But Linda was there constantly, at the hospital, at Arcunda, always. "You're holding her wrong," Linda would say. "She needs to be swaddled tighter. Why are you nursing? Formula is easier. Let me take her so you can rest." She meant well, probably, but it felt suffocating, like I couldn't be a mother to my own child without her supervision and correction. By the time Emily was 3 months old, my maternity leave was ending. I called my manager at the bank. "I'd like to come back, part-time like we discussed. We'd love to have you back. When can you start?" I told Michael that night. He was working in the home office he'd set up in our second bedroom, barely looked up from his computer. "You're going back to work. Part-time? 3 days a week. We can get a nanny for those days." "A nanny costs money. I thought we agreed you'd stay home." "You and your mother agreed." "I never did." He closed his laptop, finally looked at me. "Jennifer, be realistic. What are you going to make working part-time at a bank? 30,000 a year, maybe. A good nanny costs 25,000. So you're working 3 days a week to clear $10,000. That's not even taking into account taxes and your commute costs." The way he laid it out made me feel stupid, like wanting to work was impractical. Selfish even, like my career was just a hobby we couldn't afford anymore. "It's not just about money. It's about me, having something of my own. You have something of your own. Emily, our daughter. Isn't that enough?" That was the question that haunted me for years. Isn't that enough? As if being a mother meant erasing every other part of myself. I didn't go back to the bank, stayed home with Emily. Told myself it was temporary, just until she was in preschool. Then I'd figure something out. Linda visited every Sunday, sometimes more, would show up unannounced during the week, just wanted to see my grandbaby, would critique how I was doing things, the way I dressed Emily, the foods I was introducing, the nap schedule I was trying to establish. "You're too rigid with her schedule," Linda said one afternoon. Emily was 6 months old. I was desperately trying to get her on a consistent nap routine. "Babies need flexibility. You're going to make her anxious." My pediatrician recommended a schedule. Doctors don't know everything. I raised Michael just fine without all these modern rules. Michael never defended me, never told his mother to back off. Just let her say whatever she wanted, in my home, about my parenting, about my life. I joined a mom's group at the local community center in Arlington Heights. Tuesday mornings, it was the highlight of my week. Other women who understood, who were also navigating motherhood and the loss of identity that came with it. "Does your mother-in-law visit a lot?" one mom asked during coffee after our meeting. "Every week, sometimes more." That sounds exhausting. It is, but Michael thinks it's great that she's so involved. What do you think? No one had asked me that in months. What do you think, Jennifer? What do you want? I got pregnant again in 1999. Emily was 2. I hadn't planned it, was on birth control, but it happened anyway. Jake was born in March 2000. Another beautiful baby. Another reason I couldn't think about going back to work, that we moved to a bigger house in Palatine when Jake was 6 months old. 4 bedrooms, nice yard, good school district. Michael's company was doing really well. We were solidly upper middle class now. Comfortable, secure. "You're so lucky," women at the park would say. "Your husband makes enough that you can stay home." My husband and I both have to work just to make ends meet. Lucky, that's what they called it. But it didn't feel lucky. It felt like I was disappearing, becoming just mom, just Michael's wife, just the person who managed the household while he built his company. And his mother offered constant commentary. My sister Sarah graduated from Northwestern Law School in 2000. She was 25, brilliant, already had a job lined up at a top firm in downtown Chicago. Family law, specifically divorce. "Why divorce law?" I asked her at her graduation party. We were at my parents' house in Oak Park. Kids running around, Sarah in her cap and gown. "Because I've seen too many women trapped in bad situations with no way out. I want to help them get out, get what they deserve." That's dark. That's reality. Half of marriages end in divorce, Jennifer, and most of the time, women get screwed in the settlement, especially if they stopped working to raise kids. She looked at me pointedly. We both knew she wasn't just talking about her clients. She was talking about me. "I'm fine," I said. "Are you? You gave up your career. You're home with 2 kids under 3. Your mother-in-law is here constantly. When's the last time you did something just for you?" I couldn't answer, because I couldn't remember. By 2003, Emily was 6 and in first grade. Jake was 3 and in preschool 3 mornings a week. I had time, a few hours here and there. I thought about looking for work, updating my resume, but I'd been out of banking for 6 years, and Michael made it clear he didn't think it was necessary. Why would you want to work? You have everything you need. The house, the car, credit cards. What more do you want? What did I want? I wanted to feel like a person again, like someone with value beyond being a wife and mother. But saying that out loud felt ungrateful. Selfish. Linda had opinions about everything. The way I decorated the house, the meals I cooked, the activities I signed the kids up for. She'd show up for Sunday dinner and rearrange my kitchen cabinets. This makes more sense. You'll thank me later. Michael thought it was helpful. Mom's just trying to make things easier for you. Why do you get so defensive? I wasn't defensive. I was suffocated. But explaining that to Michael was impossible. His mother could do no wrong, and I was supposed to be grateful for her involvement. By 2005, Emily was 8 and Jake was 5. Both kids in school, full-time. I was 35 years old, a decade into a marriage that felt more like an obligation than a partnership. Financially dependent on a man who valued his mother's opinion over mine, living in a nice house, in a good suburb, looking perfectly fine from the outside. But inside, I was hollowing out, becoming smaller, quieter, less myself every year. I didn't know it then, but those years were training me, teaching me to be invisible, to accept less, to believe that my needs didn't matter as much as everyone else's. It would take another 20 years and a bottle of hotel lotion before I finally understood what I'd lost, and what I needed to get back. Asterisk. The years between 2005 and 2015 were about becoming invisible, learning that my opinions didn't matter, that my wants were secondary, that being a good wife meant accepting whatever Michael and Linda decided was best. Michael's company was thriving. Thompson Development Group had projects all over the Chicago suburbs, strip malls in office buildings in Oak Brook, residential developments in Naperville. He was making serious money. We were wealthy now, not just comfortable, wealthy. We moved again in 2007, this time to a house in Barrington, 5 bedrooms, 3-car garage, professionally landscaped yard, the kind of house I dreamed about when I was 20 working at the bank. Except now that I had it, I felt like a guest in someone else's life. Linda visited more than ever. She'd retired from her job at the Naperville Public Library in 2005, had nothing but time, would show up at our house 3-4 times a week, let herself in with the key Michael had given her. I brought lunch, she'd announce, walking into my kitchen at noon on a Tuesday. Thought we could eat together. I didn't want lunch with Linda. I wanted an afternoon to myself, to read, to think, to exist without someone watching and critiquing everything I did. But saying no to Linda was impossible. She'd tell Michael I was rude. He'd come home and lecture me about being more appreciative. She's just trying to be helpful. She's lonely since Dad died. Can't you be nice to her? I was nice to her. I was always nice to her, but nice wasn't enough. She wanted control, and Michael gave it to her. Christmas 2008. Emily was 11. Jake was 8. We all gathered at Linda's house in Naperville. She still lived in the same house, refused to downsize even though it was too big for one person. Michael handed his mother a large box, Tiffany blue. She opened it carefully, savoring the moment. Inside was a diamond tennis bracelet. Beautiful, sparkly, expensive. Oh, Michael, it's gorgeous. You shouldn't have. You deserve it, Mom, for everything you do, for being the best mother anyone could ask for. She hugged him, cried a little, made a big show of putting it on. Everyone admired it, estimated it must have cost at least $10,000. Then, Michael handed me a gift bag, small, from Macy's. Inside was a sweater, beige, medium, generic, the kind you find on a clearance rack. I saw this and thought of you, he said. I tried it on later. It didn't fit. Wrong size, wrong style, wrong everything. I never wore it. Donated it to Goodwill 3 months later. That became the pattern. Every Christmas, every birthday, Linda got jewelry, expensive purses, designer scarves, things that cost hundreds or thousands of dollars. I got drugstore perfume, kitchen gadgets, occasionally flowers from the grocery store, things that required no thought. No effort, no consideration of who I was or what I might actually want. At least he gets you something. My friend Carol said. We'd met at a book club in Barrington. She understood bad marriages, was living one herself. That's a low bar. That's marriage after 15 years. They stopped trying. We stopped mattering. But it wasn't that Michael stopped trying. He still tried for his mother, still put thought into her gifts, still made her feel special and valued. He just stopped doing it for me. My birthday in 2010, I turned 40. Michael took me to dinner at a chain restaurant in nothing special. Ordered for me without asking what I wanted. Talked about work the entire time. Checked his phone constantly. My gift was a blender from Target. Still in the plastic packaging with the price sticker on it. $29.99. Linda's birthday that same year. Michael flew her to New York City for a weekend. Front row tickets to a Broadway show. Dinner at fancy restaurants. Shopping on Fifth Avenue. Came home and showed me pictures of everything. All the places she'd been. All the things Michael had bought her. That must have cost $5,000, I said. More like 8. But it was worth it. You should have seen how happy she was. I'm sure. Don't be like that. She's my mother. She deserves to be spoiled. And what did I deserve? A $29 blender. I stopped expecting anything. Stopped hoping Michael would remember what I liked, what mattered to me. Stopped being disappointed when my birthday came and went with minimal acknowledgement. Emily noticed. She was a teenager by then. Perceptive, like my sister Sarah. Why does Dad treat Grandma Linda better than you? She asked one day. We were in the car, driving home from her soccer practice. What do you mean? The gifts, the attention, the way he talks to her versus how he talks to you. It's different. Grandma Linda is his mother. That's a special relationship. But you're his wife. Isn't that supposed to be even more special? I didn't know how to answer that. Because yes, it was supposed to be more special. But somewhere along the way, it had stopped being special at all. Linda's influence extended to everything. She had opinions about how I decorated the house. Too modern. A home should be warm and traditional. How I dressed. That outfit is too casual. You're Michael's wife. You should look put together. How I raised the kids. Too strict with Emily. Too lenient with Jake. When I raised Michael, I had the perfect balance. Michael never defended me. Never told his mother she was overstepping. Just nodded along. Mom has a point. Maybe you should consider what she's saying. My sister Sarah came to visit in 2012. She was living in the city now, had her own law practice specializing in divorce and family law, successful, independent, everything. I used to be. We sat in my kitchen in Barrington while the kids were at school, drinking coffee. She looked around at the expensive house, the high-end appliances, the designer furniture Linda had insisted we buy. You're miserable, Sarah said. Not a question, a statement. I'm fine. Jennifer, I'm a divorce attorney. I see women like you every day, living in nice houses, financially dependent, slowly dying inside. You're not fine. What am I supposed to do? I haven't worked in 16 years. I have no income, no recent job experience. Michael controls all the money. So you start planning, quietly. You get your own bank account. You start documenting everything. You prepare for the day you're ready to leave. I'm not leaving. I have kids, a life here. Emily's 15, Jake's 12. They're not babies. And this life, this isn't a life. This is you playing the supporting role in Michael's story. You're not even a character anymore. You're a prop. Her words stung because they were true. I was a prof, the wife, the mother, the person who managed the household and raised the kids and made sure Michael's life ran smoothly while he made money and spoiled his mother. By 2015, Emily was 18 and heading to University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign in the fall. Jake was 15, a sophomore in high school. My job as a full-time mother was ending, and I had no idea who I was supposed to be next. Linda was 75 now, slowing down physically, but not mentally, still visiting constantly, still giving her opinions on everything, still receiving expensive gifts from Michael while I got whatever was convenient. My parents celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary that year. Big party at a restaurant in Oak Park. Family and friends. Sarah gave a toast, talked about partnership, mutual respect, supporting each other's dreams. I sat next to Michael and felt nothing, no love, no anger, just emptiness. We'd been married 20 years, and I couldn't remember the last time he'd asked about my dreams, if I even had any dreams left. That night, driving home to Barrington, Michael said, "That was nice. 50 years, that's the goal, right? Is it?" "What do you mean?" "Of course it is. Commitment. Staying together no matter what. Even if you're miserable." "Who says we're miserable?" "I didn't say we. I said you." He was quiet the rest of the drive. We never talked about it again. Just added it to the pile of conversations we didn't have, feelings we didn't acknowledge, problems we pretended didn't exist. The next 10 years would be more of the same, more invisibility, more being second to his mother, more accepting less because I didn't think I had options. Until one day, I'd discover I had more options than I ever imagined. I just needed to be humiliated publicly first. Emily left for college in August 2015. Jake was still home, a sophomore at Barrington High School, but the house felt emptier, quieter. I had more time, too much time to think about my life, my marriage, what the next 30 years would look like if nothing changed. I started volunteering at the Barrington Public Library in 2016, just a few hours a week, helping with book clubs, organizing children's reading programs. It wasn't a career, it wasn't income, but it was something, a reason to get dressed, a place where people knew my name, and not just as Michael's wife. Michael barely noticed. He was busier than ever with Thompson Development Group. They'd expanded, had an office in downtown Chicago, now on Wacker Drive. Bigger staff, bigger projects, bigger everything. That's when Amanda joined the company. Michael mentioned hiring a new executive assistant in March 2016. Young, smart, just graduated from really impressive for 22, the same age I was when I met Michael. But I didn't think much of it then. Linda had her first stroke in October 2016. Minor, she recovered quickly, but it scared Michael, made him even more attentive to her, more determined to make sure she had everything she wanted. He hired a home care aide to check on her daily in Naperville, paid for it without question, started visiting her even more frequently, called her every morning and every evening, made sure she was comfortable, safe, cared for. I understood. She was his mother. She was 7. She'd had a health scare. Of course he was worried, but the attention he gave her made the lack of attention he gave me even more obvious. By 2017, I started noticing changes in Michael. Small things, new cologne, nicer suits. He'd always dressed well, but now it felt different. More effort, more care. He went to the gym regularly, started watching what he ate, lost 15 pounds, looked good for 50. You look great, I told him one morning. Thanks, just trying to stay healthy. Can't let myself go. But it felt like more than staying healthy. It felt like trying to impress someone. His phone habits changed too. Always face down on the counter, password protected. He'd take it with him everywhere, even to the bathroom. Would step outside to take calls, closed his office door when texting. Who are you talking to? I asked once when he'd been on the phone in the garage for 20 minutes. Work. Just work stuff. But work stuff didn't make you smile like that, didn't make you laugh quietly, didn't require that much privacy. I suspected but didn't confirm, didn't want to confirm, because confirming meant dealing with it, and I didn't have the energy to deal with it. Jake graduated high school in 2018, went to University of Wisconsin-Madison in the fall. Both kids gone now. Empty nest, just Michael and me in that big house in Barrington. We had nothing to talk about, would eat dinner in silence, watch TV in separate rooms. Live parallel lives under the same roof. Michael traveled more for work. Dallas, Phoenix, Denver, development projects that required site visits, or so he said, gone 3-4 days at a time, sometimes more. How's the project in Dallas? I'd ask when he got home. Fine, good, making progress. No details, no stories. Just vague responses and immediate retreats to his office. Linda was still doing well despite the stroke, stubborn as ever, opinionated as ever, still visited our house every Sunday for dinner, still criticized everything, still received expensive gifts from Michael for every occasion. Her 78th birthday in 2018. Michael took her to dinner at Gibson's Steakhouse in Chicago, the kind of place with $40 steaks and $100 wine. Came home and told me all about it. Mom loved it. She had the filet mignon. We split a bottle of Camus. She was so happy. That sounds nice. We should go there sometime. You'd like it. But we never went. That was always the pattern. Promises of someday that never came. Meanwhile, Linda got the nice dinners, the attention, the effort. Christmas 2019. Linda opened her gift from Michael. A pair of diamond earrings, studs, simple, elegant, had to be at least $5,000. Michael, these are beautiful. Too much, you spoil me. You deserve it, Mom. You deserve everything. My gift was a candle. Bath and Body Works. Winter Candy Apple. 8. Still had the sales sticker on it. Emily was home from college for Christmas break. 22 now, same age Amanda was when she started at Michael's company. Emily watched the gift exchange, watched her father give her grandmother diamonds and her mother a clearance candle. Later, in the kitchen, she said, "Mom, that was messed up. It's fine." "It's not fine. He spent thousands on grandma and less than $10 on you. How is that okay? Your father and I don't make a big deal about gifts, obviously, but grandma does, and he makes a huge deal about her gifts. Don't you see how wrong that is?" I saw it, had been seeing it for years, but seeing it and having the courage to do something about it were different things. The pandemic hit in 2020. Everyone home, nowhere to go. Michael worked from home, set up his office, door always closed, on Zoom calls, on his phone, more private than ever. I cleaned, cooked, organized closets, anything to fill the time, the silence, the awkwardness of being trapped with someone you had nothing to say to. Linda couldn't visit during lockdown. She was high risk, 79 with a previous stroke. Michael worried constantly, called her multiple times a day, had groceries delivered, made sure her home aid was still coming. He showed more concern for his mother's well-being during the pandemic than he'd shown for mine in 25 years of marriage. By 2021, things were opening up again. Life returning to some version of normal. Michael back in the office more, traveling again, Linda visiting again. That's when I found the credit card statement. It was in Michael's office. I wasn't snooping. I was looking for our property tax documents. The statement was in a folder. Charges I didn't recognize. Dinners at expensive restaurants in the city, hotels, Bloomingdale's, Tiffany, Nordstrom, amounts that made my stomach drop. I photographed every page with my phone. Didn't know why. Just knew I should document it. Keep evidence, just in case. One charge stood out. The Peninsula Hotel in Chicago. 3 nights. Last month, the same week Michael said he was in Dallas. He wasn't in Dallas. He was 25 miles away in downtown Chicago, at a 5-star hotel. I sat in his office staring at that statement, feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Not sadness, not anger, just clarity, understanding. This was who Michael was. This was who he'd always been. And I'd spent 26 years making excuses for him. I didn't confront him. Not yet, because I was already forming a plan. A quiet plan, one he'd never see coming. I called my sister Sarah that night. "I need to talk to you about divorce, Jennifer, finally. I've been waiting for this call for 20 years. I found evidence, credit card statements, hotels, expensive charges. I think he's having an affair. Good affairs make divorce cases much easier. Start documenting everything, every charge, every trip, every lie. And don't tell him you know, not yet. When should I tell him? When we're ready to destroy him in court. Not before." By 2022, I had months of documentation, photographs of statements, records of trips, hotels, restaurants, gifts he was buying for someone who wasn't me or his mother. Michael hired a new assistant in June 2022, his 3rd assistant in 6 years. The other 2 had quit or been fired. He never gave details. Amanda was still there though, no longer his assistant. She'd been promoted. Now she was director of operations, making good money, had her own office down the hall from Michael's. 28 years old, beautiful, ambitious, everything I used to be before I gave it all up for him. I knew it was her, knew she was who he was spending money on, who he was traveling with, who he was becoming a better version of himself for while I faded into the background. Sarah told me to wait, to be patient. We need more evidence. More time. We want this to be airtight when we file. So I waited, documented, prepared, played the good wife while planning to become his ex-wife. Linda turned 83 in August 2023. Michael threw her a party at a restaurant in the clubhouse. Expensive, elegant, invited 50 people, gave a speech about how amazing his mother was, how lucky he was to have her. Gave her a gift at the party, another Tiffany box, a necklace this time. Pearl strand, classic, timeless, had to be at least $3,000. I got a card, Hallmark, generic, to my wife on your birthday. No personal message, no signature, just the printed text. We'd been married 28 years, and he couldn't even sign a birthday card. Emily pulled me aside at the party. "Mom, how much longer are you going to put up with this?" "Not much longer, I promise." "Good, because watching him treat you like you don't matter while he worships grandma, it makes me sick." Jake feels the same way. My kids saw it, my sister saw it, Everyone saw it except Michael. Or maybe he saw it and just didn't care. By the end of 2023, Sarah had everything she needed. We could file now. The case is solid. You'd get at least 50% of assets, probably more, plus substantial alimony. Not yet. I want one more thing. What? I want him to show me exactly who he is. One more time. Publicly, so there's no doubt, no question, no possibility of ever feeling guilty for leaving. What are you waiting for? My birthday, January 2025. If he does what I think he's going to do, that'll be the final piece. And I was right. Because, on my 55th birthday, Michael gave his mother a $60,000 diamond necklace and gave me free lotion from a hotel. December 2024. The holidays were approaching. My 55th birthday was coming in January, and I was preparing for what I knew would be the final humiliation. Sarah and I met for lunch at a cafe in downtown Chicago 2 weeks before Christmas. She'd brought a folder, thick, full of documents. Everything's ready, she said. Credit card statement, hotel records, photographs, testimony from Emily and Jake if needed. When you're ready to file, we can move immediately. After my birthday, you're sure you want to wait? I need to see it. Need him to prove one more time exactly who he is. Sarah understood. She'd seen this before. Clients who needed that final moment, that undeniable proof that leaving was the only option. Christmas Eve at Linda's house, the whole family, Emily home from grad school at Northwestern, Jake home from Wisconsin. Linda's sister Margaret drove in from Springfield. My parents came from their retirement condo in Schaumburg. Linda was 84 now, frailer than she'd been, but still sharp, still opinionated, still the center of Michael's universe. He gave her Christmas gift early, at dinner. In front of everyone, a large box, wrapped beautifully, professional wrapping, the kind you pay extra for at high-end stores. Linda opened it slowly, pulled out a cashmere coat, camel-colored, soft, luxurious, had to be at least $2,000. Michael, this is too much. Nothing's too much for you, Mom. Try it on. She stood, put it on, looked elegant. Everyone complimented her, told Michael what a good son he was. He beamed, proud, happy, to make his mother happy. Then he handed me a gift bag, small, from CVS. I could see the logo. Inside was a set of Travels toiletries, shampoo, conditioner, body wash, the kind you get free at hotels, except these weren't even from a nice hotel. They were generic CVS brand. Thought you might need these, Michael said, for when you travel. I hadn't traveled anywhere in 5 years, but I smiled, said thank you. Put the bag aside. Emily looked like she wanted to cry or scream. Jake stared at his plate. My mother reached under the table and squeezed my hand. Linda didn't notice, was still showing everyone her coat, still soaking up the attention. After dinner, Emily cornered me in Linda's kitchen. Mom, how are you not losing it right now? Because in 3 weeks, this is all over. What happens in 3 weeks? My birthday, and after that, your father is going to learn some very expensive lessons about respecting his wife. Does Aunt Sarah know? Aunt Sarah is the one teaching the lessons. Emily hugged me. Good, he deserves whatever's coming. My birthday was on January 15th, a Wednesday. Michael suggested dinner that Saturday, January 18th. Make it a weekend celebration. Invite family. Let's do it at that new steakhouse in Schaumburg, he said. The one everyone's talking about, Urban Grill. Who should we invite? Mom, obviously. Emily and Jake if they're free. Maybe your parents. Keep it small, intimate, with his mother there. Nothing with Linda was intimate. I agreed, made the reservation, told everyone, invited Sarah too. She accepted immediately. I wouldn't miss this for anything, she said. The morning of my birthday, Wednesday, January 15th, Michael left for work early, didn't say happy birthday, didn't acknowledge it at all, just grabbed his coffee and left. He texted around noon, happy birthday, see you tonight, dinner Saturday. That was it. No card, no gift, no acknowledgement beyond a text message. I spent the day at the library, volunteering. My friend Carol, who worked there full-time, brought cupcakes. The staff sang happy birthday. It was sweet, thoughtful, more attention than my husband had given me. That evening, Michael came home around 7. I was in the kitchen making dinner. How was your day? He asked. Fine. Yours? Busy. How does it feel to be fit? The same as 54. He nodded, went to his office. That was my birthday acknowledgement. A 30-second conversation in the kitchen. Saturday, January 18th. The dinner, the moment I'd been waiting for. We arrived at Urban Grill at 6:30. Linda was already there, had taken a lift from Naperville. She was wearing the cashmere coat Michael had given her for Christmas. Looked elegant. Put dash together. Emily and Jake arrived together. Both had driven in from their apartments in the city. They'd moved to Chicago after college. Shared a place in Lincoln Park. Emily was getting her MBA at Northwestern. Jake was working in marketing for a tech startup. My parents came. Sarah came. Margaret, Linda's sister, was visiting from Springfield and joined us. Table for 9. Michael at the head. Linda to his right. Me to his left. The kids scattered around. Sarah diagonal from me. Watching, observing, taking mental notes. We ordered drinks, appetizers, dinner. Conversation was pleasant. Surface level, the kind of talk you have when nobody wants to say what they're really thinking. After dinner, before dessert, Michael stood up, tapped his wine glass. I want to say something. We're here to celebrate Jennifer's 55th birthday. But I also want to take a moment to acknowledge someone else, someone who's been the most important person in my life, my mother. I felt my stomach drop. He was really doing this. At my birthday dinner, Michael pulled out a Tiffany box. Large. The blue, unmistakable. He handed it to Linda. Mom, you've sacrificed so much for me, raised me to be the man I am today, supported every dream, every goal. I wanted to give you something that shows how much I appreciate you. Linda opened the box, gasped, pulled out a diamond necklace, multiple strands, graduated sizes, the kind of necklace you see in movies, gorgeous, breathtaking, expensive. Michael, I can't accept this. It's too much. Nothing's too much for you. Here, let me put it on. He fastened it around her neck. Everyone at the table watched. Margaret commented on how beautiful it was. My mother looked uncomfortable. Sarah was stone-faced. Emily and Jake looked horrified. Linda stood up, hugged Michael, cried. You're the best son anyone could ask for. He beamed, sat back down, looked satisfied, like he'd accomplished something important. Then he turned to me, reached into his jacket pocket, pulled out a small bottle. Hotel lotion, free, from the Hilton in Rosemont. Had the logo right on it, travel size, worth nothing. Happy birthday, Jennifer. Saw this at the hotel last week and thought of you. He handed it to me, smiling, like this was a real gift, like this was appropriate. The table went silent, completely silent. Everyone staring, processing what had just happened. Michael had just given his mother a diamond necklace worth at least $60,000 and given his wife of 29 years free lotion from a hotel. At her birthday dinner, in front of their children, her parents, his mother, his aunt, her sister. I looked at the bottle. Hilton Rosemont. He'd been in Rosemont last week, 20 minutes from our house, not traveling for work, just at a hotel 20 minutes away, with Amanda, probably, using credit cards I'd already documented, creating more evidence for Sarah's case. I smiled, set the lotion on the table. Thank you, Michael. How thoughtful. Sarah caught my eye, nodded slightly. Emily looked like she was about to explode. Jake was staring at his father with disgust. My mother had tears in her eyes. Linda didn't notice, was still admiring her necklace, still basking in being the center of attention. At my birthday dinner, Michael looked pleased with himself, had no idea what he'd just done, had no idea that this moment, this humiliation, was exactly what I'd been waiting for. The final proof, the undeniable evidence, the moment I could point to forever and say, this is why I left. We finished dinner, had dessert, sang happy birthday. I blew out candles on a cake the restaurant provided. Everyone gave me their gifts. My parents, a nice scarf. Sarah, a gift card to a bookstore. Emily and Jake had gone in together on a spa day. Real gifts, thoughtful gifts, from everyone except my husband. We left the restaurant around 9. Michael was in a good mood. Talked about how nice the evening had been, how happy his mother looked with her necklace. That was a good night, he said on the drive home to Barrington. Yes, it was perfect. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I did enjoy it, not for the reasons he thought, but because he'd just handed me everything I needed, everything Sarah needed, everything the judge would need. When we got home, I went straight to the bedroom, texted Sarah. It happened, worse than I imagined. Call me tomorrow, it's time. She responded immediately. Finally, Monday morning, we file. I lay in bed next to my husband of 29 years, the man who'd just given his 84-year-old mother $60,000 in diamonds and his 55-year-old wife free hotel lotion. And I smiled, because in 72 hours, his entire world was going to implode, and he had no idea it was coming. Monday, January 20th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Most people had the day off, but divorce attorneys don't take holidays when clients are ready to move. Sarah filed the papers at 9 a.m. at the DuPage County Courthouse in Wheaton. Petition for dissolution of marriage, 29 years, citing irreconcilable differences and dissipation of marital assets. The dissipation part was key. All those charges, hotels, restaurants, gifts for Amanda, money Michael had spent on his affair instead of on our marriage. In Illinois, that matters. Courts don't look kindly on spouses who waste marital funds on extramarital relationships. Michael was served at his office on Walker Drive at 11 a.m. A process server walked in, asked for Michael Thompson, handed him an envelope. He called me 20 minutes later. I was at the library, volunteering, acting like it was a normal Monday. Jennifer, what the hell is this? Divorce papers. I'm divorcing you. You can't be serious. Over what? A misunderstanding at dinner. It's not about the dinner. It's about 29 years. It's about your affair. It's about you spending $60,000 on your mother and giving me hotel lotion. It's about everything. What affair? I'm not having an affair. Amanda, your director of operations, the Peninsula Hotel, Dallas trips that were actually Chicago. I have credit card statements. Michael, I have everything. Silence. Long silence. Then, we need to talk about this, face to face. Talk to my lawyer, Sarah Morrison. You remember her. My sister, the divorce attorney. Your sister is representing you. That's a conflict of interest. Actually, it's not, and she's very good at what she does. You're about to find out how good. I hung up, turned off my phone, went back to shelving books. Michael came home that evening. I was in the kitchen making dinner, just for me, one portion. We need to talk. I have nothing to say to you. Jennifer, please, let's be reasonable about this. I am being reasonable. You've had an affair. You've spent marital assets on your mistress. You've emotionally neglected me for decades, and you humiliated me publicly at my birthday dinner. Those are facts. Now we deal with the consequences. I'll end it with Amanda. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't do this. End it. Michael, you gave me hotel lotion while giving your mother $60,000 in diamonds at my birthday dinner. In front of our children. Do you understand how degrading that was? It was a joke. I was going to give you something nicer later. It wasn't a joke, and there is no later. This marriage is over. He tried arguing, tried negotiating, tried apologizing. I didn't engage, just told him Sarah would be in touch about temporary support and living arrangements. You want me to move out? That would be ideal. Or, I can move out. Either way, we're not living together anymore. He moved into a hotel, the Residence Inn in Schaumburg. Ironic. Another hotel. Linda called the next day, furious. How dare you do this to my son, after everything he's given you? Everything he's given me. Linda, he's given you more in the last year than he's given me in the last decade, because I'm his mother. I deserve his respect, and I'm his wife. I deserved respect too. I never got it. You're selfish, ungrateful. Michael was right about you. What did he say about me? That you've been cold, distant, unsupportive. That's why he needed comfort elsewhere. So he'd told his mother about Amanda, framed it as my fault. Of course he had. Believe whatever you want, Linda. But I'm done with this marriage, with pretending, with all of it. Emily and Jake called that evening, both supportive, both relieved. Finally, Mom, Emily said, we've been waiting for you to do this for years. I know, I should have done it sooner. You did it when you were ready. That's what matters. Sarah sent over the preliminary asset list. Michael had been required to disclose all accounts, properties, investments, everything. The numbers were staggering. Thompson Development Group was worth $12 million. Our house in Barrington was worth $2 million. Retirement accounts, investments, savings, total marital assets, approximately $17 million. Under Illinois law, you're entitled to 50%. Sarah explained, but with the affair and the dissipation of assets, we're going for more, 60% plus substantial alimony. Can we get that? With what he did at your birthday dinner, with witnesses, with his own mother wearing the evidence around her neck? Yes, we can get that. Michael hired a lawyer, big firm, expensive, the kind that charges $800 an hour. They tried negotiating, offered 40% plus minimal alimony. Sarah laughed. countered with 65% plus 15,000 monthly alimony for life. Your client humiliated mine publicly, Sarah wrote, gave his mother $60,000 while giving his wife hotel toiletries, conducted an affair with an employee, spent marital assets on said affair. My client is entitled to substantial compensation for 29 years of emotional neglect and financial abuse. The battle had begun, and I was finally fighting back. February brought revelations. Michael's lawyer tried to hide the affair, claimed Amanda was just an employee, that the hotel charges were legitimate business expenses. Sarah destroyed that argument in one meeting, presented credit card statements. The Peninsula Hotel, Valentine's Day 2023, romantic dinner for two at Spia. Tiffany purchases that didn't go to me or Linda. Business expenses. Sarah said, your client took his mistress to a 5-star hotel on Valentine's Day while his wife was home alone. That's not business. That's adultery. Michael's lawyer had no response. Word spread at Thompson Development Group. Employees talked. Gossip traveled. By mid-February, everyone knew the boss was getting divorced, having an affair with Amanda. The wife was taking him for everything. Amanda resigned on February 28, sent a brief email, effective immediately. No explanation, just gone. Michael tried calling her, texting. She blocked him, disappeared. She'd been with him for the money, the position, the lifestyle. Once the divorce became public, once it was clear Michael was about to lose millions, she wanted nothing to do with him. Linda had to sell the diamond necklace in March. Michael needed money for legal fees. His lawyer required a $100,000 retainer. Michael's accounts were frozen pending asset division. You're making me sell Mom's necklace, he said on a call with Sarah. You gave your mother a $60,000 necklace with marital funds while humiliating your wife. Yes, it has to be sold. Everything is marital property until the court says otherwise. Linda was devastated, called me crying. You're taking my necklace, the gift from my son. I'm not taking anything, Linda. Your son spent marital money irresponsibly. Now he's facing consequences. The necklace was always going to be part of the settlement. You're a vindictive, cruel woman. I'm a woman who was given hotel lotion on her birthday, while you got diamonds. Maybe think about that. Settlement negotiations continued through March. Michael's lawyer kept trying to reduce alimony, reduce the percentage, claimed Jennifer didn't deserve more than half. Sarah presented evidence, Emily's testimony about the birthday dinner, Jake's testimony about years of neglect, photos of Linda's gifts versus Jennifer's gifts over the years. Your client created a pattern of financial and emotional abuse spanning decades, Sarah wrote, culminating in a public humiliation at my client's 55th birthday. A jury would be very sympathetic to Mrs. Thompson, very unsympathetic to Mr. Thompson. I suggest your clients settle before this goes to trial. Michael's lawyer advised settlement. Going to trial would be worse, more expensive, more public. The birthday dinner story would be in court records, potentially in the news. On March 28, Michael agreed. 60% of assets, $10,200,000, plus $12,000 monthly alimony for life. Jennifer had won, not just money, but vindication, justice, freedom, and Michael. He'd learned an expensive lesson about respecting his wife. 29 years too late.